Another one might be that I'm not good at that. Well, the only way to find out is to try. So if you don't try, you don't have the right to say, I'm not good at that. But by doing so, you're kind of covering yourself from potential mistakes. And that's only if you actually are ready enough to actually start taking action. So I truly hope that the message I'm sharing inspires and motivates you to improve your life. Now let's get to the point. Welcome back to another episode of ToDaPointPodcast, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. I want to get straight into the video by saying that your only limit is you. You must have heard of, if you think you can, you're right, and if you think you can't, you're also right. Your only limitation is you. A couple of days ago, I was assigned to a client at my work, and the first thing that came to mind when I saw her case was that it was too difficult and that I was not going to be able to help her. What then happened was I started procrastinating, contacting her in order to talk to her about the situation and get her an appointment. Around lunchtime, I said to myself, you know what? Even if this case turns out to be difficult, I'm not going to be able to change it, right? It is what it is. So I might as well just take the step, contact this client, and get it over with. As usual, it turned out in the end, after contacting her, that it wasn't that difficult at all. Until I realized that postponing what needs to get done makes everything worse than actually taking action. Because if you don't take action, it's going to start eating away at you until you start taking the necessary actions in order to change the situation. Instead of wasting all that energy procrastinating, use that same energy to actually get things done. There was a time in my life where there was only room for self-doubt and negativity. The more I doubted, the more it became my reality. Trying to achieve mediocre goals, working a mediocre job, and not getting the best out of life. And even though I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, the big difference between then and now is the shift in my mindset. Let's say about 5 years ago, I just thought I couldn't do better and that the situation I was in was the situation I was going to remain in forever. Now I actually do believe I can change and create a better life for myself. To the point where I can actually say that I'm not there yet, but I know that my situation can change. And with that I mean creating my own business, coaching people, contributing positivity into this world. Compared to, like I said, 5 years ago, I used to think that that would never change and that I would always stay in the same situation. So there's this psychologist called Carol Dweck, and she did a research on different types of mindset. And she says that there are two types of mindset. The first one is the fixed mindset and the second one is the growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset don't believe they can change their situation, don't believe that they can learn things and improve their skills and their life. People, on the other hand, who have a growth mindset do believe that with a lot of time and dedication, they can improve skills, achieve bigger goals, and change their life. So like I said in the beginning, whether you think you can, you're right, and whether you think you can't, you're also right. So why am I sharing this video with you? You need to realize that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I know that sounds cliche, but it is the truth. The things you tell yourself on a regular basis will be more and more ingrained into your reality. So in order for you to see change, you have to start changing the way you talk to yourself, right? The words you speak are basically a spell. And the more you speak them, you speak those things into existence. Thus, you will start seeing them in your reality. I have another great example of a limiting belief that I was just telling myself. And eventually, I am proud that I actually overcame it. So before I pressed record, I was telling myself how I'm feeling like shit because this is the time of the month. And actually, I don't want to be here and talk to this camera. But one way or another, I remember my vision. And that's what motivated me to actually press record. And I say in different videos, do not rely on motivation. And this is a great example of when you have your vision, there's not much that can stop you, right? So I felt my mind trying to talk me out of pressing record. But I did it anyway because I have a greater purpose in mind. So I talked about limiting mindset or limiting belief. And some more specific examples could be like, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, people like me don't do things like that, and so on. The thing is that if you really think about it, and you might have to pause the video for this one, usually those limiting beliefs come from negative past experiences, I should say. Let's say you tried something in the past and you failed, even though by now you know how I feel about failing. But let's say it didn't go the way you expected it, and now you're scared to make the same mistake again, not to look like a fool, right? It might also be other people's opinions. Maybe the limiting belief you have is not something of yourself, but something someone told you, let's say 2 years ago or yesterday, right? Also, the limiting belief can come from the fear of the unknown, right? Usually, we want to have like a clear plan written out so we know exactly what to expect. But the funny thing about life is, no matter how perfectly you think you get things planned, usually it goes totally different, right? So not knowing what you're going to expect can usually paralyze people and make them start putting limiting beliefs on themselves. So in order to recognize those limiting beliefs, we need to start looking at the things we tell ourselves, right? Those things might be different excuses, and something that a lot of people like to use is that I don't have the time. Let me tell you something. If someone would pay you $10 million to execute on a plan, I'm pretty sure you'll find one way or another in order to get that thing done, right? So the I don't have time is a bullshit excuse and actually a limiting belief. Another one might be that I'm not good at that. Well, the only way to find out is to try. So if you don't try, you don't have the right to say I'm not good at that. But by doing so, you're kind of covering yourself from potential mistakes, and that's only if you actually are ready enough to actually start taking action. So how can we break through those limiting beliefs? Something that has worked for me in the past and that I still use from time to time is to do the opposite, right? And I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean by that. So let's say your limiting belief is I can't do that. In order to start making changes, you need to start replacing that I can't with I can, or how can I learn how to do such and such. Another good one is, let's say your limiting belief is, or your excuse is, I don't have the time. You can say, tomorrow at 5 p.m. after work, I'm gonna take 15 minutes to get the workout done. I'm gonna get 15 minutes to start writing that script. I'm gonna take 15 minutes to go out for a jog. By making those things as tangible as possible and smart as possible, you make it easier for yourself to start achieving your goals. And on top of that, once you start doing those things you're telling yourself, you start building your self-esteem, because you then become a person who makes a promise to yourself and keeps that promise to yourself, right? So again, when you say something that is limiting you, try thinking, or I should say actually start writing, because everything you write crystallizes, right? Start writing the opposite, right? Take a couple of minutes a day. If you're really serious about this, you are willing to take a couple of minutes out of your day and spend time on this and write those things out, all your limiting beliefs. And it's not going to work in the first times you attempt it, but eventually the more you try it, the more natural it becomes, and you start seeing that your mindset starts shifting. And I talked about failure a couple of sentences back. Realize that failing is not really failing, right? Because everything you try that doesn't work out the way you planned is only teaching you what isn't working, and it makes you get closer to find out what is working for you. Like I said before, when you start changing the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So if you start seeing failure as a learning opportunity, it will start being experienced by you as a learning opportunity. So to wrap it up, this is what I want you to take away from today's video. Your only limitation is you. Not your past, not your circumstances, not other people's opinions, right? The real battle is in your mind. If you can change your beliefs, you can definitely change your life. So that was the video for today. I hope you found value, and I really hope you start implementing the things I have spoken about in today's video. If you found value, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and tell me some of your limiting beliefs and how you're going to start working on them in order to change them, to start seeing positive changes in your life. Thank you for watching, and as usual, I will see you in the next one.